Good morning to one and all. Today's class totally belongs to this parking studies. What is a parking? That means normally in transportation engineering purpose, we are constructing a huge quantity of the roads for flowing of this traffic from origin point to particular destination points. Whenever we are moving with a particular vehicle, the vehicle has to have some quantity of space whenever it will be having a living period. That means whenever we complete the particular transportation, that means a particular quantity of traveling on that particular day, so that the vehicle has to stop and we need to park in a particular position, so that we have to give some amount of rest time to the vehicle, so that to give a particular time of rest we need to park our vehicle in a space. That means daily we are using for different purposes. That means we are going to colleges, industries, or hospitals or schools, whatever it may be. Whenever we want to move to a particular position with respect to space, we definitely use these vehicles. After our usage is over, we have to park it in a proper manner, otherwise it will cause a severe disturbance to the users of roads. So that we need to know different parking studies. Wherever the parking studies are useful, what are the different studies involved in these studies? In the previous class we discussed about these origin and destination studies. That means these are the different origin and destination studies. That means origin means wherever the point we start a particular journey, that belongs to this origin point. Destination point means the final part of the journey. Suppose from one place to another place we are moving. That means today we want to see this Vizag port, so that our original point is home is the origin point. The final point is the destination point is Vizag port. Likely we have to move to university for collecting our certificate, so that origin point is our home or our college. Destination point is university. Likely we are having different origin and destination studies. To know those studies, and we need to improve our road facilities. It is the responsibility for the government to improve the road facility and create a huge amount of roads to the users. Why? Because we are directly paying a certain quantity of tax to the government. The government has to use this tax amount to the utilization of these roads and other facilities which are required for the particular vehicle users on a particular space, so that all these surveys are useful for the particular government. What is the required, what is the data they are having, so that by using the data, how much amount of roads are needed, in what places they need to travel, what is the maximum priority of a particular place in the state or central level, so that how much amount of road should be required. All those studies with respect to these surveys are taken by using these nine parts. It means nine studies. First one is the road interview survey, home interview survey, telephonic survey, taxi survey, postcard questionnaire survey, and the registration number survey, tag survey, public transportation survey, commercial vehicle survey. All those nine patterns, that means nine studies, we are discussed in the previous classes. But in case of today's topic is parking studies. That means these are the parking vehicles in a proper manner. Actually, this photograph was taken at the particular industry. That means where there is a manufacturing. Why? Because all the vehicles are in same manner and same position. That means the same kind of vehicles are parked aside to each other, so that it is a industrial place. Next one, today we need to know what is a parking study, where it is useful. So that major part of the drivers, that means major part means a large quantity of these commercial vehicles and public transportation vehicles like our RTC buses and lorries are driven by some quantity of uneducated people, so that the major quantity of accidents was occurring due to those people. Why? Because there are having a less quantity of these traffic studies. If they definitely know these traffic studies, automatically the percentage of accidents will be reduced in our country. Why? Because of they are knowing all the rules and regulation. What is the terrain area, what is the hilly area, what is the different kinds of areas we are having, what are the different gradients we are having, so that at a particular gradient or particular terrain which speed we need to maintain, what are the different cross sections of the roads, what is the national highway, what is the so express highway, all those terms they have to know. Why? Because they are using a particular public property. That means these roads and all are belongs to the public, so that those are called as the public properties. While they are using their public properties, they need to have to follow some quantity of rules which were laid down by this Indian Road Congress. So that what is a parking study? In parking study, how we need to park our a particular vehicle. If it is a two wheeler, what is the measures we need to take? If it is a four wheeler, what measures we need to take? How many hours we need to park at a particular position? That means if a vehicle parked at a particular position, that means normally they have to park within a 24 hours, they have to remove the vehicle. That means if we park a vehicle and that didn't removed for days and days, automatically the government has to take a particular action on the vehicle. Why? Because it is a stolen vehicle or other explosive things are kept in the vehicle. All those things they have to test. For the purpose of this, we need to do some amount of studies on these parking facilities. First of all, one of the problem created by the road traffic is mainly to this parking. Improper parking, not parking, improper parking. There is a difference to the parking and improper parking. That means whenever we park our vehicle in a proper position, that will doesn't cause a disturbance to the users. Whenever there is a no proper parking on a road, that means that automatically it will cause a severe obstructions and disturbance to the road users, and it will leads to a huge amount of traffic jam at a particular position. So that we have to park our vehicle in a proper manner and position and alignment. All those things we need to maintain. Not only the not only do vehicles require street space to move about, but also they require a space to park when the occupants can loaded or unloaded. That means these loaded and unloaded terms mainly used in the case of these commercial vehicles. That means normally public transportation vehicles we have to move to a particular position. After the reaching the particular positions, we have to remove our necessary items with our, so that we need to remove all those from a particular bus or any other, so that we have to move from one place to another place. After the place is reached, automatically we have to remove our essential things with us. Automatically the vehicle will move from a particular position. There is no proper disturbance to the others. In case of these parking studies also, we have to park a particular vehicle. Whenever they stop, automatically the public transportation system has given some amount of bus stops in the form of signboards. That means whenever we are traveling on a particular road, there may be some amount of signboards we are observing. In the signboard itself, there may be a parking distance. That means a parking spot at a particular village or mandal or any district. That means they have to notate that particular terms in form of a signboard, so that everyone should have to understand this is a parking place. After a few minutes, there may be a vehicle will come and occupy the particular position, so that we need to move from the particular position, and we have to stand a few miles from few meters from the particular position, so that those will have some amount of knowledge to the road users while we are having a this parking knowledge. The period of over a car is parked with a very great compared to the time it is in motion. Every car owner would wish to park a car in a closely as a possible to destination so that minimize his walking. In the specified paragraph, the last word is we are having is the in a period over a which a car is parked with a very great compared with the time it is in motion so that every car owner would wish to park the car as closely as possible to his destination so as to minimize the walking. That means every car owner has to park his car from the particular position. That means whenever he was going to his office so that he wants to park his car as near as possible to the particular origin place of his office so that his walking distance will be so less to the particular vehicle. That means a nearer to the office or beside the office he wants to park his car so that it is the main meaning of this word. If we go to a particular college, in the college also we are having a particular parking facility so that at the entrance of our college we need to park all the vehicles. After that parking is over, we need to move to the college with a some quantity of road work we have to use. That means from our college to entrance place nearly we are having a huge quantity of these roads. By using those roads we need to move to the particular college. Why? Because if the college management is allows all the vehicles to the inside of the college, that means that will cause a huge amount of these traffic jams, or sometimes we have to face these horn sounds. All those will cause a huge quantity of disturbance to the students who are lies in the classrooms and other things, so that they need to maintain certain distance to park the vehicles. That is the main reason why, because it will cause a huge amount of disturbance to the students or any other faculty who are lies in the college building, so that they have to park the particular distance from the particular school buildings or college buildings or industrial buildings to reduce the noise levels caused by a particular parkings or sound patterns which were used to lock their vehicles and other conditions. So that it is a main criteria. First of all, we have to use our vehicles in a particular parking positions only to reduce the traffic jams. And second primary case is we need to have some quantity of traffic knowledge to decrease these parking these traffic jams whenever we are having a particular quantity of vehicle. That means it is large span vehicles or public transportation vehicles. After that we need to park our vehicle in a particular positions only. That means what are the positions given by our management or industries. In those particular positions only we need to park our vehicles. That means all are have to follow these traffic laws and rules. Next one, it is the introduction. Traveling vehicles at one time or another will need to park a short or long times. That means these short or long times we are having, those times are mainly belongs to these colleges and industries and hospitals. If there is a person who is going to the college, that means the person has to work for a 8 hours period minimum. That means if the student is going to the particular college by using this transportation system like buses or any other bikes or any other, that means the student has to stay for a particular span of time. That means minimum 8 hours or 7 hours, which was prescribed by the college management. Likely in a different patterns we are having. That means different industries or hospitals or any other public places where the mainly persons are working. In those working places also the people has to stay up to some quantity of time, whether it may be a large span or short span. That depends upon the parking vehicles. That means if the person has to stay for a large span of, that means long span, nearly 5 to 10 hours in a particular industry or office or any other, so that the person has to park his vehicle in a particular position so that that will doesn't cause a traffic jam or any other obstructions to the users, so that it will be a quiet one. Next one, we are having a short span of time. That means the short span means these are comes under whenever we are going to by particular place to buy some quantities or essential things to us, so that it will cost mainly a 1 hour or half an hour time. So suppose we are going to a supermarket or rice stop or any other way, whenever we are going to buy vegetables, so that in these times we have to spend for a half an hour to minimum of 30 minutes to 40 minutes. After that we need to move from a particular position, so that they are having different time spans for different works. For suppose we are moving to a particular cinema hall, the cinema hall we need to stand up to a minimum quantity of 3 hours, so that in the particular cinema hall we are having a particular time period. Likely different places having different time periods. According to the time period we need to spend, we have to use our brain, so that whenever we are moving to particular position, that means particular place, in that particular place we have to stay up to this amount of time period, so that we have to stop our vehicle in a particular parking place with respect to our usage of time in the particular place. That is the main theme of the first point. Next one is the need of parking spaces is a great areas where land uses include. That means need for parking spaces. That means need means మనకి అవసరం. ఎక్కడైతే పార్కింగ్ ప్లేస్ మనకి ఎక్కడ అవసరం, వేర్ దేర్ ఈజ్ ఏ హ్యూజ్ కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్. దట్ మీన్స్ హ్యూజ్ కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ ఈజ్ వేర్ normally in industrial areas or schools. That means normally schools they are using this public transport like buses and other things. Like industry colleges also they are using public transport like APSRTC or college buses. In majorly we are having these two contents having huge amount of population collection. Next one, we are having a software employees. Normally software employees they have to use their own vehicles, just put a two-wheeler or four-wheeler. They have to stay in the office for 8 to 10 hours. Likely we are having different areas having different time periods, so that they have to use a particular parking spaces which was prescribed by their managements. That is the second point. A need for parking spaces is great in areas where land uses include like business, residential or commercial. Business means normally we are having different business areas like cloth markets and other things, reliances and D-marts. Likely we are having different business places. Next one, residential areas. Residential areas means normally for every house we are having some quantity of this parking space in front of us, in front of our building. Okay, in that particular place we need to park our vehicle. Likely in apartments the major part, that means the ground floor is responsible for parking their vehicles. Likely a commercial areas, that means commercial areas means there is a huge quantity of commercial areas for buying and selling. Likely in vegetable markets and other things we are having, all those places are related to these commercial areas. In those commercial areas also they have some quantity of space is leave to these parking facilities. Next one we are having is the in high density areas and the spaces are very expansive, thus the space provided for automobiles usually has to divide between their movement and parking. That means in high density areas, what is density? That means in a small quantity of area there may be a huge amount of population, that is called as the density. Normally density means we are having a units of kg per meter cube. For a certain meter cube of volume there may be huge amount of mass, means automatically density will also high. If the particular certain quantity of volume having less quantity of weight means there may be a low density in with respect to materials. But in case of parking studies means there is a huge span of space but less quantity of vehicles, means parking density is so low. If there is a small quantity of space, huge quantity of vehicles means parking facility is very high, means very densified parking we need to have, so that in the high rise areas and certain developing countries, they need to develop a particular quantity of vehicles. That means they are separately building these kind of apartments for, that means apartments means normally apartments are used to residential purpose. For in case of high rise buildings, in foreign countries they are having 100 towers building or 50 to 70 stories buildings. In those 50 to 70 story buildings, normally they are having a huge quantity of people are lying in the building with a small quantity of space for parking, so that they are using these high rised parking towers. That means in a particular separate building is constructed for the parking facilities, so that in a separate parking building they need to park their vehicles with respect to their numbers. That means they have to give a particular number to a particular person, so that that person has to park his vehicle on this number only. These are the different studies according to the density of the separate areas. Next one is what is the effect of this parking? How we need to do this parking? What are the effects we need to face whenever there is a wrong kind of parking? First one is the congestion. That means this congestions means whenever there is a less amount of air to breathe, automatically we are having this congestion. That means a small kind of headache like things how to face. This thing, those kind of things are called as this congestion. This congestion in terms of this traffic engineering means there may be no movement to flow a particular vehicle. Those kind of situation is called as a congestion in transportation. Next one is the accidents. If there is no movement, automatically the vehicle will also comes with a huge amount of speed, so that the vehicles has to bear these accidents. This is the second one. Next one is obstruction to firefighting operations. That means there is a huge traffic is lying on a particular area. That means the movement of vehicle for 1 kilometer takes nearly 1 hour to 2 hour. That means normally we need to move with our vehicle in a 1 kilometer means simply with 5 minutes or 10 minutes we have to move in a particular position. If there is a huge amount of traffic means automatically we have to move with a slow speed to rush in a particular rushy areas, so that we have to move in a congestion with a huge amount of headache and other sirens are simply blowing. All those things we will have to face, so that there may be some amount of headache will be rising in those particular areas, and automatically we have to face these breathing problems also. Why? Because all those parking all those vehicles in a particular area has to exhaust these gases like the sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide and other chlorofluorocarbons. Simply we are breathing all those gases and we have to face a severe breathing problems. All those will obstruct our human lifespan also, so that in some cases if there is any fire accidents occurring in a particular place, automatically these fire vehicles have to move to the particular place. If there is any traffic jam, automatically there is no movement to that particular vehicle, so that it also causes a some parking facility effects. Next one is the effect on environment. What is the effect on environment means normally we are having a huge quantity of these metropolitan cities like Bangalore, Mum- Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi. Next one we are having Hyderabad and Chennai. In all those places we are having a huge quantity of traffic lying. That means due to this huge quantity of traffic, automatically there may be a huge amount of excavation exhausting of these greenhouse gases. Due to this evaluation of these greenhouse gases, automatically there may be a increment of temperature in the atmosphere. That means normally we are daily using these petrochemical products for running our vehicles. Automatically there may be a huge amount of exhausting of these gases like these chlorofluorocarbons and carbon monoxide, mainly sulfur dioxide and other sulfur products. Those will cause mainly effect to the environment and ozone layer. Due to the ozone layer depletion, automatically the temperatures will be rising day to day. That means year to year we have to face That means we have to face some amount of temperature with 2 to 3 degrees rising annually. That means in the previous years we are having 34 to 36 degrees as a normal temperature. After 1 year we have to face 36 to 38. After a second year we have to face 38 to 40. Likely year to year we have to face a particular quantity of improvement of temperature due to this abnormal usage of vehicles. All those leads to these effects on the transportation system as well as environment also. Why? Because huge amount of vehicles means automatically the density of particular place is enriched by the movement of these vehicles. Automatically, if there is enrichment means automatically enrichment of usage of petrochemicals and enrichment of degrading this environment and surrounding soil strata also. First one, ILL, ill effect of the parking. We are having first four phases. What is the first phase? Congestion. Second phase, accidents. Third phase, obstructions to the fire fighting operators, or in some cases ambulances also. Those also face some amount of traffic problem in particular areas. Next one is the effect on environment. All those things leads to this different parking studies. First one is we are having is congestion. What is a congestion? Till now we described only with our own words, but we need to have some amount of quantity of these technical terms. What is a congestion? Parking takes a considerable street space, leading to the lowering of the road capacity. That means what is a road capacity? Normally we are having a 1 kilometer road with two lanes. That means in the two lanes itself the vehicles has to move. Whenever there is a parking of a vehicle on a particular space, that means automatically the road capacity will be decreases due to the parking of the particular kind of vehicle on a road itself. That also leads to the congestion. That means the road users does not uses the all part of the road because of these parking vehicles, so that there may be some quantity of additional roads or additional amount of space should be required for the parking vehicles beside the roads. Hence the speed will be reduces. That means if there is any obstruction means automatically we need to move with a small quantity of speeds automatically. Why? Because there may be obstructions like speed breakers. Whenever there is a speed breaker, automatically our vehicle has to give a particular brakes. Due to those brakes, the automatically our speed will be reduces. That is the main cause. Next one, journey time and delay will be subsequently increases. Whenever we have to move with a small quantity of speed, automatically our journey time will be increases. These journey times are discussed in the origin and destination studies. That means whenever we are moving with a particular spaces, so that we have to move and we need to prefer a particular route, so that that route will give a better time and time saving route it should be, so that this all comes under this origin and destination studies also. Next one, the operational cost of the vehicle increases, leading to a great economical loss of the community. That means the operation cost of the vehicle increases. What is the operation cost? That means we are simply moving with a small speed with a huge time. That means automatically the vehicle owner has to use more amount of fuel. That will leads to this operational cost. And sometimes simply we are running our vehicle with a huge amount of time, means automatically there may be some amount of waste or some mechanical problems also occurring to our vehicle, so that automatically all those comes under this operational cost of a particular vehicles, so that all of those includes a huge amount of money or burden to the particular vehicle user, so that it will be some amount of economical loss. That means some amount of money will be lost by a particular owner due to these problems. So that means it should be a money or person or a community. That means in some of the places like Mumbai, we are having this Hyderabad, they are having a huge amount of these traffic problems, so that they are simply going to offices with some amount of delay, so that they have to face these cuttings in the salary. Automatically those also responsible for the purpose of these traffic jams and severe parking studies. So that they, in the major metropolitan cities, they are building these bridges to avoid these traffic jams, so that they are interconnecting different places with these bridges, so that there may be a less quantity of this traffic jam. Whenever there is a huge amount of vehicles are moving to a particular position with respect to origin, they are building directly those bridges and others from origin point to the destination point, so that there may be no stopping of a particular vehicles in a particular period of time. That means especially in the morning periods, that means 7 to 10, the major period is 8 to 9, they need to go to their offices. In the evening time itself, simply 6 to 8 p.m, they need to leave their offices and they have to move to their homes and others. Means this is the total congestion, that means due to parking of vehicles on besides of the road, there's those will leads to these kind of congestion times. Next one we are having is the accidents. How we have to face these accidents due to parking problems? Normally major amount of accidents will occur due to rapid driving and sometimes drunken drive likely. But in case of a few quantity of accidents also occurs due to this improper parking on a besides of the roads. How they will occur? We need to observe these points. Careless maneuvering of the parking and unparking leads to these accidents, which are referred to a parking accidents. That means whenever we are parking a particular vehicle in a improper place, those also leads to these accidents. That is the main content there. Careless maneuvering, that means careless means simply at a particular road, simply we are stopping our vehicle and park and simply go to the particular shop. That means automatically those also leads to accidents. That means if there is a 2-lane road or 1-lane road, simply we are stopped our vehicle. I will stop. This is the particular lane of the vehicle. That means one way or two way. This is the major way. We need to stop our vehicle in this portion. It is the parking. Whenever we stop our vehicle in this area, automatically there may be another vehicle coming and it will clash. Automatically there may be occurring of accidents. That is an irresponsible parking or maneuvering. Next one is a common type of parking accidents occur while driving out a car from a parking area. That means mainly we are parking a particular car in a space. Whenever we are removing our car with irregular signs, that means whenever we are removing our car from a particular parking area, we need to use our siren systems to alert the drivers, or wherever there is a person near to the particular space, those have to listen the siren sound, so that the car is removing from a particular space, so that we need to decrease our speed and we need to move in a particular position, so that there may be a blowing of horn or blowing of these lights exactly back side of a particular car whenever the car is in parking position, so that all those leads to giving a signs to the particular road users. Whenever we are not using all these signs, means simply there may be a occurring of accidents. This leads to improper and careless parking. Careless opening of the door, that means we are simply open our door and chit chatting with the others. That means whenever there is a back coming vehicle, all those will clash our vehicles. There may be some amount of accidents and sometimes it will leads to a dangers. And while bringing in the vehicle to the particular parking of a lot of the parking, that means parking a lot for parking, that means we are parked a particular car in a space, so that there is no movement of other vehicles. Automatically those also leads to a severe problem, so that we need to park a particular vehicle in a space, so that the space will not be affected by the other vehicle users, so that the vehicle users has to move in a safe manner. What are the ill effects of the parking? Next one we are having is the environmental pollution. That means what is environmental pollution? You all are having some amount of knowledge on this environment. That means environment means normally we are having these five kinds. What are those? Gali, Neeru. Parking studies we are having this environmental pollution as a major concern. That means we need to have some amount of environmental pollution precautionary measures. We are using a huge quantity of these petrochemical products, so that we have to face these exhaustion of these gases from the vehicles. Normally a particular vehicle has to do a pollution check in every year. The pollution check will be observed by a particular traffic police, so that the vehicle is suitable or not in a particular road. Why? Because the vehicle having not particular condition, and simply it is using, and it will cause a huge amount of pollution and releasing of gases in the environment. Automatically that will leads to a faster degradation. That means faster degradation of the particular layers of the ozone or any other which are nearer to our surface. Those are nearly preserving our environment from the sun's radiation, like UV rays and other rays are directly falling onto the earth, and those rays will increases the temperature onto the particular earth layer, so that we have to use our resources as less as possible, and we need to give those resources to our future generations also. Simply we are using and we are moving means automatically our future generations has to face a severe crisis to water and wind and other earth sources are completely damaged by these resources which we are using in our daily purpose, like these petrochemicals and other things. So that we need to use particular products which are resourceable and reusable products. That means renewable energy resources. Likely we are having this wind energy, tidal energy and water energy. Normally we are having, we have to generate our power, and we need to use those powers for, why? Because they are daily coming onto the earth, so that we have to use those powers and generating energy. Automatically there may be no particular quantity of amount we need to invest. That means particularly we have to invest a quantity of amount in the starting season only. After that we won't have to invest a particular material. Automatically energy will be generated. We need to have some amount of battery power package only, so that that will leads to a sustainable environment which will be suitable for our future generations also. So that in the environmental pollution what we are having is they all cause pollution to the environmental because of stopping and starting the vehicle, while the parking and unparking results to noise, fumes. They are affect the aesthetic beauty of the buildings, because cars parked at every space creates a feeling to the building rises from plinth of the cars. That means mainly what he told, that major amount of the bikes and utilities, that means these traffic utilities are suddenly switch offing, that means oning and offing of their vehicles in their daily usages, so that those will leads to a extra amount of petroleum usage. That means whenever we are having a particular traffic jam on particular area, we need to stop our vehicle. Whenever there is a clearance at that particular point, we need to start our vehicle. After that we need to move from that particular place. Why? Because simply there is a traffic jam, there may be a cause of half an hour to 1 hour time. Automatically simply we on our bike and simply sitting on the bike means there may be consumption of this petroleum and other petroleum products. Simply it will be waste to our future generations and waste to the particular persons. So that we need to mind in a particular we need to mind that at a particular points, at crossings and others, when there is a these traffic jams or signals are blocking, that means we need to stop our vehicle and we need to start whenever there is a movement of the particular vehicles. That is the main theme. And whenever we are parking these vehicles nearer to the building, automatically due to the exhausting gases, the beauty of the building also damages due to absorption of these gases. Our buildings are mainly constructed with these lime products. That means in the buildings itself we are using this lime. That means in the form of cement and sand we are majorly using. And sometimes we are using these partition walls, all those are with the help of these bricks. So that major content we are having is this lime and silica. And on top of the portion we are having the particular quantity of coating. That means with the help of these paints and others, so that those will directly absorb these gases which are coming onto the atmosphere. And there may be a chance of dampness in the starting year. Whenever we will have to paint a particular building, it will be glowing for a 1 year or 2 year. Automatically after third year there may be no glowness to the building. Why? Because the building will absorbing all the harmful gases near to the building, and it will changing their color from white to yellow. Why? Because of there may be some amount of absorbance of these gases. That is the main theme it was telling. Next one is the obstruction to firefighting operations. That means there is a traffic jam in front of a particular vehicle is moving. Automatically there may be no chance to move the particular vehicle into the besides or any other. Why? Because there may be huge amount of traffic jam. There may be no space to moving. In those conditions, there definitely there may be a huge amount of money or any other wastage at a particular firefighting stations. That means firefighting team that are parked vehicles may obstruct this movement of firefighting vehicles. Sometimes they block the access of the hydrants and other access to the buildings. Those will definitely cause a huge amount of money loss and man loss. Sometimes in with respect to humans also they have to loss.